This thing is flowing water at 14,000 gallons per minute. Absolutely insane. Welcome back to Heroes Next Door. Thank you all for joining us today. Today we'll be doing a review of some products that I found on YouTube. The other day we had a fire here in our county, and I thought these would be pretty cool to look at and see if they're realistic and would help us out. You guys have been awesome at watching our videos, seeing us on live, the station rigs, station cribs, but we want to give you a little bit more in-depth stuff. So we're going to do a review or a reaction to some of these different products. I found a place called the HighTrans that does pumps and things like that. So one of the issues that I had with a large fire is finding enough water. Here in Chester County, Pennsylvania, we use a lot of tanker task force. So they'll drop a pool and bring in multiple tankers to fill up the water. But where this was, I believe there was a stream or a river that was close that I wonder if we could draft from there and do that. So this company out of the Netherlands, HighTrans, has a product that does really high flow stuff. So the first video I'm going to look at is how they draft from, it looks like a river here. This thing is absolutely massive. It comes on a truck. It looks like a container that you would have to do. And it drops off the back of the container. Real quick, they have to make sure they got enough hose. It looks like it's an 8-inch hose to feed this because the gallons per minute is just phenomenal on what this thing can pump. It drops into the water, fills up the hose, and you have to use a Blitz Fire or some kind of ground unit to flow water because there's so much flow behind it that it just makes it too hard for one person to handle. Realistically for us, bringing a container ship to the side or to a fire, I don't know how realistic this is. It's pretty cool to see. They get a lot of water, they get a lot of fire, but I don't know. Let's bring it up to the next thing and see how the Blitz Fire actually works. This too has to be brought by another truck. And this is by the same company. This is a Blitz Fire or a deck gun on absolute steroids. It's massive. So it can take that 8-inch hose main line, bring it to this, you pull it on a trailer, and the amount of water that flows through this, you could pretty much set this on the building of your fire company and clear the town with it. You're creating an entire storm with this thing. It is absolutely massive. I don't know where they're going to use this kind of thing unless it's out on a boat or on a marina somewhere. But realistically, can we actually feed this in and do a good wilderness fire or brush fire that, you know, is going to take hours to do, and we just set this thing up and just basically create our own hurricane in that area to put the fires out? This thing is flowing water at 14,000 gallons per minute. Absolutely insane. There's so much water being put out. I don't think a tanker task force would be able to hold enough water or dump enough water to do that. Your porta tanks would be empty in a matter of seconds, but it's a lot of water. It's almost like if we would take a helicopter and do an airdrop, and it's just insane. Pretty cool. It's a Blitz Fire on steroids. If you're liking this video, we appreciate it, but do us a favor, hit that subscribe, hit that notification so we can keep bringing you more. Now let's get back to it. There is a company called How Tech that does a lot of things that you guys have probably seen. They have the rip saw, they have a barricade breaker for the SWAT teams. They have lots of different things. What How Tech are doing really, really cool, but they're kind of now branching over into the fire and EMS side, especially the fire, and they have this robot to use that can, you know, really pump a lot of water out, put us in a safe position. It's a smaller unit. It still uses their tread system. It's got a diesel engine on the inside of it, and the amount of water that flows from this is just absolutely amazing. It uses a remote control. It looks like this one has 2 feeds in, so the water pressure that you need to do that is cool. But really, when I looked at this one, I was like, you know what? This would be good for those long-term events, such as a large brush fire, barn fire, or something like that, where you can just roll it up, start flowing water, make sure you got your tanks full, have your tankers continually, you know, cycle out, but you don't need to put a guy on the hose the entire time. All you have is the guy doing the controls, and you can take care of this. The other thing that I thought that this would be really cool is if we actually put it on a specialty service, like a rescue or a technical service, like a hazmat. If we go to we have trains that run through our township that carry chemicals and other things, gas, fuel, diesel, all that kind of stuff. If we have an overturned tanker, or even on the highways for that matter, that can be really, really dangerous. So by using a specialty tool like this on a hazmat team, maybe you get 3, 4, 5 of them, you can hook foam to it, you can hook water to it, you can drive that into the danger zone, and you as firefighters can actually take a step back. This would be pretty cool to do. I don't know how much they cost. It really is going to depend on that, but that really takes the firemen out of that danger zone and can put water on the fire. And the advantage of this is it's not just a single Blitz Fire where it only shoots one direction. You can use a remote control and turn that in different directions as you see fit, and you got to really put out the hot spots. The question is going to become is, can anybody afford that? A lot of us have volunteer stations or paid stations that are really budget crunched, and having a unit like that is a good idea, but how well are they going to be able to market it to us at a price that we all can afford? Because realistically, I would say to make this most effective, we're going to need 4 of them. Put one on each corner of a fire and go in and fight the fire. Next thing I want to talk about is going to be drones. There is a system out there that fights fire from a drone. Drones have become a real popular thing. They're getting more and more popular in the EMS and fire side of it, whether they're surveying the scene and doing the 360s for us, whether they're getting media information so we can relay that to our PIOs. Whatever it is, there's going to be a drone somewhere in your fire company over the next 5 to 10 years. The question is, how do we use it? Is it just for pictures? Is it for thermal imaging? Is it for searching for people? Or can we fight fires from it? This one actually talks about fighting fires. And I don't know. You have to hook a hose to it, so it only looks like it's a forestry line. So it's not a whole lot of water. I don't know how realistic it's gonna be. But if you're in that remote area, maybe your tower or your ladder can't make it up a driveway, pulling out a drone like this could be useful. To me, I think it's going a little above and beyond what drones should be doing or can be doing. As technology continues to advance, who knows? Maybe we'll be fighting fires from the firehouse with drones alone. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. All right, so the next thing that we're going to look at is going to be an exploding fire extinguisher. There are tons of fire extinguishers out there. You got your ABCs, you got your dry chems, you got water, all kinds of fire extinguishers, but the issue is, first of all, how do you store them? How big are they? How long do they last? Do they work? Do you have to be properly trained on them? All these kind of things go on with fire extinguishers. It's kind of cool because it's basically a ball that's a styrofoam ball with a dry chem on the inside and an explosive on the inside that's lit off by a fuse on the outside. What you're going to do is actually take this ball and throw it into the fire. It's going to light off the fuse, which lights off the ignition on the inside, and then it explodes and just dumps a whole lot of dry chem and essentially puts the fire out. Where I see this being very useful is the police officers that are out there that don't really have the room in their cars to put a fire extinguisher, or even civilians that want to carry a fire extinguisher with them. They can hold these. They don't have to worry about, how to pull the pin, squeeze the nozzle, sweep left and right. You literally can just throw this into a burning vehicle. You can throw this into a closet or wherever the fire is. Heck, you could really throw it into a stove fire if you got it, and it just, boom, puts the fire out. My question was, how dangerous is that explosion? So say we got a fire in a car and there's somebody still in there. Well, as a civilian, I don't want to do more damage. I'm nervous about that kind of stuff. Or even as a firefighter, I don't want to do more damage, and I want to put that fire out as soon as possible. Do I spray water on it? Do I set that up? Can I get off my truck, still pull my hose line, but take one of these balls, toss that in the window, get the initial explosion and repellent to go over the fire, get it died down enough where I can get that victim out. I think that's a good way to use this kind of thing. There is a video out here, this guy actually holds one in his hand, because I was nervous. I'm like, okay, that explosion, how much of blowback will someone get? How close can I get to it? He holds it in his hand. Why anybody would do that, I don't know. But he holds it in his hand and it goes off. And you can hear his kid in the background, hey, it didn't blow off your hand. Yeah, like, don't do that kind of stuff. But it's a pretty cool concept. It's a pretty cool idea that I would like to try. Maybe I'll order one. I think we can get them on Amazon or something like that and see if they actually work. Very cool. How practical? I don't know. You guys tell me. Would you use it? Would you not? And finally, I'm going to talk about, this is the Fire Express car demo. One of the difficult things that we have, especially when we're talking about vehicle fires that are on an expressway, is getting to that fire. A lot of times the cars pull off the side of the road and then all the traffic stops. You know, there's a massive fire going on, and trying to get a fire truck down the road, especially on a divided highway or one with a barricade or Jersey barrier on it, it's very difficult to get to the fire quick enough to put something out. Many times we'll actually shut down the roadway at one point and come up the wrong way in order to get to that fire. These guys kind of have come up with a solution. They are actually putting a mixture of dry chem and water on a motorcycle and having a motorcycle response. So as he approaches, he stops, puts the kickstand down. It looks like there is a forestry hose that comes off the back. So he's got maybe 25, maybe 30 feet of hose. And then he starts putting the fire out, and he does a pretty good job. He doesn't have an air pack, so I'd be cautious about that. There's a lot of chemicals that are coming off these cars. I'd be very, very cautious of approaching a car without a air pack on. Just stay upwind, like he did here. He went to the driver's side door and actually came upwind and started putting the fire out. But you can get the bulk of a fire knocked down pretty quickly with this kind of system. So putting a fire truck onto a motorcycle to help with these traffic issues. Maybe you live in a city where it's very, very congested and you need to get to that sooner. Because remember, a fire doubles in size every 30 seconds. So while we're honking the horn and getting people to move to the right, or we're splitting the highway and you're doing the Moses down the middle of the highway, this motorcycle can kind of zip right past you, get down where it needs to be, and start putting the fire out. So once again, this is just a review, a little reaction of some of this technology that's coming out there. I'm sure there's a ton more technology that we're going to have in the next couple of years. If you guys have any suggestions of what I should take a look at, put it in the comments down below. It's kind of fun to look at these. So I appreciate you. Once again, this is Heroes Next Door, and this is a reacts video on some of these technologies. So thank you all for watching. Do us a favor, hit subscribe, hit notifications so we can keep bringing you more. Don't forget, we do have some merchandise. Check out our website, watchheroesnextdoor.com. I appreciate you. Catch you on the next ones.